26 August 2022, episode 43 of This and That and What the Fuck. In this one I'll be talking about the Donbass and energy. Quite a few things about energy. I am absolutely astounded about this energy crisis in Europe. I cannot believe that the citizens of Europe allowed their leadership to get them into that debacle. Let's call it a debacle. It's early in the program and I'll be decent. The first one is Ukrainian military strikes mall in Donetsk. Authorities say all people have been evacuated from the Galactica shopping center in the Kirov region of the city. Unconfirmed footage uploaded on social media shows the extent of the damage. If you look at those pictures there, that mall is properly on fire. And what makes me angry, that is the Ukrainian army that is bombing that mall. And this is what they've been doing with the Western weapons, terrorizing the citizens. But yet the West is 100% behind Zelensky and 100% against Putin. But Zelensky does this to civilians. This is war crimes. And then there's this one. Donetsk on fire and smoke. Ukrainian terrorists continue to attack the peaceful city. Columns of black smoke are visible in the city. The armed forces of Ukraine are hitting residential buildings and civilian facilities in the Leninsky district. The mayor of Donetsk, A. Kulumzan, reported a direct hit on the Galactica shopping center, after which a strong fire started in the building. Now, I don't care what your religion is. Bottom line is this. If you support the bombing of civilians, you better sit down and do some introspection. And then this one here, that was on the evening when that journalist girl was buried. That night, the Russian forces did this as a tribute to her, and they shelled the Ukrainians for the whole night. And then we've got this one here, and this once again show you the levels to which these Ukrainians will go. Ukrainian militants shell styrol chemical plant in Gorlovka, Donetsk Republic. Investigation on possible chemical leakage, a number of victims underway. Update. Local authorities say that a 110 kilowatt transformer substation is on fire. Crews from the Ministry of Emergency Situations working on the spot to eliminate the fire. And this is, again, this is a civilian installation, but they bomb it. But we've seen it. They bomb a nuclear plant. Those guys are without principle, and they are revealing their true Zazi nature. And this one should get your hair up right. Armed forces of Ukraine fired at the Dormitron Church of St. Nicholas in the Vasilivsky Monastery in the village of Nikolsko during the service. Fortunately, no one was injured, the DNR headquarters announced yesterday. Look at that, shooting a church. What the fuck is wrong with those people? And then there's this. Russia builds new houses in Mariupol for those who lost their homes. It will be free. And look at those buildings. And that is what the Russians are doing in Mariupol. And what does the West do? The West gives more weapons and money to Zelensky to bomb citizens. And then this year. Now, I was quite vocal about it in my Briekmerke about this. I was in a big argument with a guy about the happenings there in Donetsk, and he keeps on telling me that Putin is a communist and that the Russians are invaders and that the Ukrainians are the victims. Now look at these images. This is what the victims do. The victims do to the Russian inhabitants of Ukraine. How can I, when it was a war based on lies, why should I make sacrifices for this? And the poster was very brief and to the point. And look at that. And here's a picture of one of those girls. If you look there on the left hand side is the Ukrainian soldier, and then taped to the pole. his 11-year-old girl. What the hell is wrong with those people? I cannot wait for the Russians to really get to them and stick it to them. And then there's this little bit of good news. That building that is in flames and fire there was a Ukrainian command center. And then we get to the energy. And now you must listen to what this guy says. He say wind but mean gas. Great analogy. The German in the video says, look, these are wonderful wind generators. There are many of them and they are full, all full. But the payment for the electricity and heat continues to grow. Asking why? Yes, because the wind blows from Russia, but we will not take it. We are not stupid. Yeah. And then we're back to the turbines. Canada intends to transfer the remaining 5 turbines for Nord Stream to Germany, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly said. What will Germany do with these turbines? The minister did not specify. Under the terms of the repair agreement, Canada must return the turbines directly to Russia. Perhaps Berlin will put these 5 turbines next to the one already received, and they will be examined by Scholz. Guys, the craziness has got no limits. Western official circles spoke about the difficulties with the help of Ukraine after 6 months. A harsh winter, rising food prices, a fuel crisis and a shortage of electricity to heat homes could affect the Western consensus on military aid to Ukraine. This is reported by the American TV channel, citing sources among Western officials. According to a NATO official, stockpiles of weapons that can be sent to Ukraine are declining. The good news is these weapons help the Ukrainians survive. The bad news is that the longer the war goes on, the smaller the stocks of these weapons will be, the NATO official said. And Einstein figured something out. The official also noted the wariness of the West from the fighting in Ukraine as events at the front stall. Back in February, it was easy to join the anti-Putin bandwagon. Now the war is in a boring strategic stage. Fewer daily gains and losses and fewer photo opportunities, the source said. Yeah, what can you say about that? And then some more energy woes. Europe will remain without fertilizer and Poland without beer and soda. The Norwegian fertilizer producer announced a reduction of up to 35% of production capacity due to the record gas prices in the region. The American company CF Industries announced the suspension of ammonia production at a plant in Britain and at the plants of Grupa, Azoty and Anvil. Not only the production of nitrogen fertilizer stopped, but also the volume of production of liquid CO2 and dry ice fell. The Carlsberg Polska company is in a panic. The carbon dioxide reserves of beer producers will not be enough for a week. And the cherry on the cake, due to European sanctions, Russian ammonia containing fertilizers are stuck in Estonian ports. Representatives of the ports are afraid that they may spontaneously explode. What can you say? The madness just continues. And then we have this. Lithuania, the largest fertilizer plant in the Baltics, is closed due to expensive gas. Last year we paid 60 euros per megawatt hour and it was a record price. Now it has quadrupled to 280 euros. What the fuck is going on in that Europe? When is the citizens going to get out of their chairs, take to the streets, walk to Parliament and remove those cretins? If they don't do it, they're going to die. And Garland Nixon made this remark on Twitter. It'll probably take a year or two to hit the US, but really, honestly, how screwed up are the people in Europe? The poor bastards will be lucky to survive the winter. They need to make a serious U-turn. And I agree 100% with what he says. And then we've got this. Germany has announced it may run out of toilet paper because gas is needed to manufacture it. No hot water or toilet paper. Smells third world to me. That is the truth. I did a Skidmark in which I said the EU is heading for the Stone Age. That was way back in March, I think. And here it is. The chairman of the nation's paper industry association has warned Germans that the energy crisis will create a toilet paper shortage, almost certainly risking fresh panic buying of the product. And then somebody responds to that tweet, with so many people that will shit in their pants when they understand what is coming, it is no surprise. Yeah. Energy anguish spreads unrest across Europe. Experts are predicting a winter of discontent across the continent as spiraling cost of living and energy costs rattle governments and societies, bringing social unrest and calls for radical tax measures as European countries attempt to wean themselves off Russian energy supplies. Yeah. Well, look, I am quite sure, and I've said it in some of my Skidmarks, that by December, I'm sure not many of the governments will still be standing. The Belgian Prime Minister warns that the next 5 to 10 winters will be difficult due to high energy prices as a result of the EU countries' decision to impose sanctions against Russia. And what the fuck is that? 5 to 10 winters, guys. And then he says how the EU countries' decision to impose the sanctions. That bloody sanctions was driven from the EC in Brussels under direct instruction from the warmongers in the shithouse in Washington. This is all self-inflicting pain, self-inflicted pain. UK energy prices leap 80%. Poverty, death and bankruptcy looms. Bills will soar to an average of $4,188 a year from October. A rise, energy regulator Ofgem calls a crisis which needs decisive government intervention as the UK Parliament is paralysed by the ongoing leadership tussle between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. And on top of that, they've got billions of pounds to give the Ukraine. And then this one makes me smile. In Lithuania, firewood has doubled in price. There's a big demand for everything that burns. All the waste is collected in the forest. Twigs are especially popular. It is more profitable to sell them than wood, since they do not have to pay an additional tax for them, said the owner of several hectares of forest. Can you believe it? In 2022, these people are gathering wood from the forests. And this one could have been a warafa. Getting in Dutch with gas supplies. Dutch city of The Hague, to ask for exemption of anti-Russia EU sanctions after it's left in the tight spot, unable to find replacement for Russian gas suppliers. And there you have it. Now that city wants to be exempted from the Russian sanctions. But I wonder how their minds work. They are busy working on getting Putin declared a war criminal and other Russian officials, get them tried for war crimes, and then they want to ask him for gas. What are the chances? There are no free countries in the EU, just vassals to the US and debt slaves of the European Central Bank. Only the collapse of the EU can save the peoples of Europe, and ironically enough, it's what Putin may yet accomplish. Yes, I think the guy may be right. I don't think it was Putin's aim to crash Europe, but the leadership in Europe is crashing Europe. And then we're in the Green Deal. UK eco mobs smash up highway gas pumps. Enraged motorists on the UK's M25 were left with depleted fuel supplies after violent protesters blocked 3 gas stations and damaged or destroyed numerous pumps on Wednesday morning. And I saw some video of these cretins destroying the fuel pumps. What the fuck is wrong with society where people will pull a phone out and take a video of this cretin destroying a fuel pump? The video is more important than stopping that bastard from doing what he's doing. I don't know what is going to happen. Society has gone soft. Soy boys can't protect anybody, where although they are the men, they're supposed to be the protection of the society and the community, but they can't. They're useless. And then we get to that what the fuck moment, and this is actually a depressing what the fuck. Notice how the men's feet are pointing compared to the women's. And then you look at the feet from left to right, and you can see how the woman is standing, and then check that blonde on the left. What the fuck is that? But hey, the White House is diverse. And on that note, please like, subscribe, share the thing. Have a great evening.